Today we're going to be taking a look at the best free-to-play legendary gems for Wizard. Let's go. Taking a look at legendary gems today, we're going to be looking at 1 and 2 star gems, and I'll talk through what I've used and what I find beneficial and what I've also seen in action as really beneficial. I'm also going to suggest PvE and PvP gems, so listen out for which I recommend for each thing. So starting off, we've got Carson's Invigoration. This is a really good 1-star gem. This increases the speed of your primary attacks by 5.5% at rank 1, and at rank 3 primary attack damage bonus is increased to 0.5%, so those percentages will increase as you upgrade the gem, and I just find this one really beneficial. I use this on a lot of my alt characters. I've got 2 alts currently, and on my first alt I have this at rank 10, and I find it a really good gem for my necromancer. Also really nice for any class in Diablo Immortal, but yeah, on Wizard, again, really great gem. Next up, we have Berserker's Eye. So this increases damage you deal by 5.5%, but also increases damage you take by 5%. At rank 3, critical hit chances increased by 0.5%. So although it increases the damage you take, you don't really notice that when you're using it. And Berserker's Eye is a gem that I used for a really, really long time on my Wizard. And the critical hit chance increase, again, both of those percentages will increase as you upgrade this gem, but critical hit chance is really important to have in both PvP and PvE, so this gem is a good all-rounder for both PvP and PvE. Next up, we have Everlasting Torment. Your critical hits inflict agony, dealing 10% base damage plus 122 every second for 6 seconds. Each enemy cannot be affected by this more often than once every 20 seconds. And at rank 3, increases your attack speed by 1.5% for each nearby enemy afflicted with agony. So this is another one that's actually really good in PvP. Can also be good in PvE if you're using it in things like League raids against mobs and stuff like that. But yeah, quite a decent gem here, and having critical hit chance increase, having the critical hits, inflicting agony, and then also having the attack speed increase there is really nice with that one. Next up, we have the Black Rose. Now this I've seen in PvP and it can be really decent. I've seen a lot of demon hunters using this and a couple of wizards as well. So each time you're attacked, you have a 10% chance to summon vines that immobilize the attacker for 1.1 second. Each enemy cannot be affected by this more often than once every 20 seconds. And a chance to summon vines increased to 13.5% at rank 3. Now again, as you upgrade this gem, those percentages get higher, and I've seen this really beneficial in PvP because it is a type of crowd control CC, so really nice against opponents in PvP. Next up, we have, where is it that I'm looking for? Entropic Well. So this one is also a pretty decent gem. This increases skill damage by 6%, and at rank 3, skill attack speed is increased by 1%. So skill attack speed is how quickly those skills are damaging your opponent. So again, this one's nice in PvP and PvE. Really decent gem and one that I would recommend. We also have Falter Grasp. Now critical hits disable enemies, preventing their use of dash skills for 1.2 seconds. Cannot occur on the same target more often than once every 20 seconds. And at rank 3, disabled enemies also have their movement speed reduced by 6%. Unlocks at rank 3. Now I have seen a lot of people using this in PvP and it works extremely well for a 1-star gem. So that is why I wanted to recommend it here. It is a really good gem, and yeah, in PvP with the right gem synergy, this can be super potent. So next up, we have the Havoc Bearer. Again, this one is good in PvP or PvE if you're using dash skills in your builds. So if you're using teleport as a wizard, this one is pretty good. So using a dash skill increases your damage by 6% for 2 seconds. Cannot occur more often than once every 6 seconds. So every 6 seconds is pretty fast. And increases your attack speed by 1% at rank 3. So again, those percentages will increase as you upgrade the gem. And overall, pretty good gem for PvE or PvP as it's going to increase your damage. Now, one of the new gems that I want to talk about is Surging Sea. So this is a really good new gem. So using a skill increases your skill damage by 0.8% for 3 seconds, stacking up to 10 times. So that 0.8 can stack up to 8%. And at rank 3, skilled cooldowns are reduced by 0.5%. So again, as you upgrade this gem, those percentages will increase. And this again is really good in PvP or in PvE. It's just going to increase your skill damage overall. And I would say a good all-rounder, as I said, for PvP or PvE. Now moving on to 2-star gems, we've got Power and Command. Now I see a lot of people using this in PvE and with some really good results. So Power and Command alternates states every 9 seconds. Power increases your primary attack damage by 8%, and Command increases all other skill damage by 8%. So basically, if you're not increasing your primary attack, you're increasing your skill attack damage or skill damage. And at rank 3 you have a 7.5% chance to dispel any negative effect on you each time Power and Command states alternate. So if you have any kind of negative effect on you, that will basically get rid of it. That's how that one works. So Power and Command is a really good gem. I've seen a lot of people using that and it seems just really great. Now if you're using a build that has a lot of range on it, Bloody Reach is a good gem to use. I have used this gem before and I don't really have a lot of builds where I'm far from my enemy, but if you are using, again, like I said, one of those skills or one of those builds where you're using the Ray of Frost or you're using Disintegrate Beam, Bloody Reach can work really well. So this increases all damage you deal by 2% for every 2 yards between you and the enemy hit, up to a maximum of 8% at 8 yards. And at rank 3, your attacks have a 0.3% chance to decrease enemy movement speed by 35% for 3 seconds. So again, this one can work nicely in PvP and works really well if you're using builds where you have that range, where you have that distance. So anything like a channeling Ray of Frost or Disintegrate Beam works really nicely. Battle Guard, this is a good defensive gem in PvP again. Decreases all damage you take by 8% from enemies within 3 yards. And at rank 3, you move unhindered through enemies while your life is below 15%. So if you're below 15% life, you can continue moving through the opponents. And yeah, really good gem in PvP. Again, it's another one that I used back in the day when I was new to Diablo Immortal, and I found this one was really beneficial. Now, Lightning Core, I would suggest this if you are using a build that is based around shock. So Lightning Core, your primary attacks and movement slowly charge you with electricity. When fully charged, your next primary attack will release Chain Lightning, dealing 90% base damage plus 1134 to nearby enemies. Cannot occur more often than once every 20 seconds. And at rank 3, after unleashing Chain Lightning, all damage you deal is increased by 3% for 3 seconds. Now, the reason this works with shock is because shock will increase any kind of lightning damage. So Lightning Core is really good in shock builds. So if you're using things like the Lightning Nova that has shock in it, if you're using Electrocute, Lightning Core will work really nicely with your build. So bear that in mind if you're using shock builds. And again, you could use that in PvE or PvP. If, as I said, if you're using shock, Lightning Core is a good option. Abiding Curse. So your attacks have a 15% chance to curse enemy, reducing their attack and movement speeds by 35% for 2.5 seconds. Cannot curse the same target more often than once every 20 seconds. Damage dealt to curse targets increased to 2.5%. So this is actually another gem that is very good in PvP. And I've seen a lot of people using this alongside the, which one was it that I mentioned just now? Falter Grasp. Works really nicely with that. So yeah, Abiding Curse is another one that is good for PvP. Now, a must-have gem if you're free to play is Pain Clasp, and this is for any class. So increases damage dealt by 8% to enemies suffering from a continuous damage effect. When an enemy suffering from a continuous damage is within 10 yards, your movement speed is increased by 1.5% at rank 3. Now, I've used Pain Clasp for a really long time. It's only recently that I've replaced it, and I do still have the gem inside of one of my 5-star gems at rank 10 for gem resonance, but I've kept it safe so that I can actually potentially use it again in the future. And as a free-to-play person, if you have a free-to-play character, I would say Pain Clasp is a must-have, as is Mother's Lament. So when you deal damage, you have a 20% chance of gaining Maternal Disdain, increasing your critical hit chance by 12% for 6 seconds, cannot occur more often than once every 20 seconds. And when Maternal Disdain ends, you release a blood spike towards nearby enemies, dealing 13.5 base damage to enemies it hits, and also causing them to bleed. So Mother's Lament is giving you the damage over time effect of bleed at rank 3. It's also giving you critical hit chance. So Mother's Lament is a really good, really strong 2-star gem for PvP or PvE. I again used that in my build for a really long time. Mother's Lament and Pain Clasp work nicely together because you have that bleed effect from Mother's Lament. Pain Clasp will make that even stronger. Now the same goes for Viper's Bite. So Viper's Bite is another one that goes hand in hand with Pain Clasp, using all 3 gems together. If you were to go Pain Clasp, Mother's Lament, Viper's Bite in PvP or PvE, these will give you a huge advantage altogether. So damaging enemies poisons them with Viper's Venom, causes them to take 16% base damage plus 120 damage every second for 6 seconds. At rank 3, Viper's Venom also reduces enemy attack speed by 1.5%. Now I actually use Viper's Bite in my PvP build at rank 10, so I could use 5-star gems, but you know what, Viper's Bite is so strong. I find this works better than Seeping Bile, which is why I use this in PvP and not Seeping Bile. But generally, I actually really like that gem. I think it's really powerful in both PvE and PvP. But as I said, even better if you're using it with Pain Clasp and Mother's Lament. Next up, we're going to talk about Cold Confident. Now, I use this on my Necromancer and it does work quite well. So dealing damage summons a pillar of ice at the enemy's location with life equal to 300% of your maximum life. Enemies near the pillar are chilled and dealt 15% base damage plus 344 each second. The pillar persists for 6 seconds or until destroyed. Cannot occur more often than once every 20 seconds. And at rank 3, Ice Pillar life is increased to 350% of your maximum life. Now this one works nicely in PvP because it generally will spawn on top of a character, so you're getting that instant slowing effect on them. And again, I use this on my Necromancer and it seems like a really good gem. Now I'm going to talk about Morn Skull for a second. So this is really hard to get a hold of now, but a lot of people that I see using this in PvE are lower resonance than me but dealing more damage. So this gem is really powerful for a 2-star gem. So dealing damage calls, let me try that again. Dealing damage calls the spirit of the Lich King from within Morn Skull to drain the souls of nearby enemies, granting you royal dominion for 6 seconds, increasing all damage you deal by 7% up to a maximum of 14% if at least 3 enemies were drained. Cannot occur more often than once every 20 seconds. And at rank 3, while royal dominion is active, your attacks will also unleash 2 vile spirits at nearby enemies every second that explode on contact, dealing 3% base damage to all enemies near the target. So this one is very, very good in PvE. Really strong, and I would really recommend that if you can get any copies of it. Definitely go for that if you are free to play. Next up, and the last 2-star gem I'm going to mention today is Spectre Glass. So with this, critical hits shatter enemy armor for 2 seconds, increasing the damage they take from you by 10%. Cannot occur on the same target more often than once every 6 seconds. Spectre Glass armor shatter also increases your critical hit chance against the enemy by 1% at rank 3. So Spectre Glass is another gem that works nicely with the Pain Clasp, Mother's Lament, Viper's Bite. Also works really well with Falter Grasp. So I would say that Spectre Glass is another must-have for PvP. Does work nicely in PvE as well, but yeah, definitely a PvP gem there. We do have this new gem that landed in game recently, Stubborn Oracle, but I'm not going to talk about that because I don't really see it as beneficial for PvP or PvE. So those would be my recommendations for Wizard. The other gems, they're not awful, but they're just not as strong as the ones that I've recommended in this video for Wizard. But yeah, let me know what you've been using in PvE and PvP for your gems. Let me know if you're free to play or if you're a mid-spender, and also let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in seeing a video like this for my recommendations on 5-star gems. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, drop me a comment, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.
Official Diablo Partner.